if you've been fighting battles no one sees, if you've been praying with a heart full of hope, only to be met with silence, if you've waited and waited, believing things would change, but every day still feels like the one before, this message is for you. This is for the one whose faith feels like it's running on fumes, for the one who smiles in public but cries when the door closes, for the one who wonders if God still hears, if God still cares. You're not weak because you're tired. You're not less faithful because you feel weary. And no, you're not alone in this. Behind closed doors, many hearts echo your pain. But more importantly, God sees what no one else does. He sees every quiet tear, every unspoken fear, every brave step you've taken when you had every reason to quit. You haven't been forgotten, not for a moment, not by the one who knit you together in your mother's womb, not by the Savior who stretched out his arms on a cross, thinking of you. So if you're feeling tired of trying, let this moment breathe hope into your soul. Not because the struggle disappears, but because you're about to be reminded, you don't walk through this alone. There are moments when it feels like the more you pray, the quieter heaven becomes. You pour your heart out, raw, desperate, honest, and yet, the silence feels deafening. You ask God to move, to answer, to just give you a sign that He's near. But the waiting stretches longer, and your soul begins to ache under the weight of it all. You start to wonder if God still sees you, if He still cares, if you've been forgotten in the shuffle of a chaotic world. You try to stay strong, but your strength is running low. You tell yourself to keep believing, but your faith feels thin, like it's unraveling thread by thread. And your heart is tired. Tired of hoping, tired of hurting, tired of holding it all together when everything inside you feels like it's falling apart. But hear this, you're not strange, and you're not alone. Even the greatest heroes of faith felt this same weight. David cried out, "How long, Lord? Will you forget me forever?" Elijah, after calling down fire from heaven, sat beneath a tree and begged God to take his life. Job cursed the day he was born, questioning why he was even alive. These weren't weak people. They were deeply human, just like you. They loved God, and they still had moments where it felt like too much. So if you're there right now, on the edge, feeling like you've got nothing left, know this, you're in good company. And more than that, you're not stuck here. Jesus knows exactly how you feel. Not from a distance, not in theory, but from experience. He walked this earth in human skin. He felt exhaustion. He felt sorrow. He felt the sting of betrayal, the ache of loneliness, and the weight of overwhelming grief. Jesus wept, not just once, but deeply, uncontrollably, at the tomb of a friend. He groaned in anguish, not just in passing, but with a heaviness that shook him to his core. In the Garden of Gethsemane, the night before he faced the cross, Jesus fell to the ground in agony. He cried out, "Father, if it is possible, take this cup from me." He was overwhelmed, not just by what was ahead, but by the full weight of human suffering. He didn't rush through that moment. He sat in it. He let the tears fall. He sweat drops of blood. And yet, he stayed. He didn't run from pain, he walked through it, for you. So when you're struggling, when you feel like your soul is collapsing under pressure, don't let shame whisper that you're weak. You're not weak because you're tired. You're not less spiritual because you're hurting. You're human, and even the Son of God struggled. He's not disappointed in your pain. He's not distant from your sorrow. He's in it with you right now, closer than you realize, holding you with the same hands that carried a cross. There's a promise that echoes through every valley of weakness. A truth that holds steady even when everything else feels like it's slipping away. God is your strength. Not just when you're at your best, but especially when you're at your weakest. In 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9, God speaks through Paul and says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Not in perfection, not in performance, but in weakness. That place where you feel undone, stretched thin, barely holding on. That's exactly where His power shows up strongest. Isaiah 40 verse 29 reminds us, "He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak." That's not a poetic thought. It's a divine guarantee. Right now, you might feel empty, worn out, like you've hit your limit. But God hasn't. He doesn't run out. He doesn't grow tired. He's not waiting for you to get it together. He's meeting you exactly where you are. You may not feel it yet. The weight may still be there. But beneath it all, He is pouring strength into you. Quietly, steadily, faithfully. Not the kind of strength that always removes the storm, but the kind that carries you through it. His grace is enough. His power is working even now. And it's working in you. You are closer than you think. That moment when everything in you wants to quit, when giving up feels easier than going on, that's often the very edge of breakthrough. It's the place where your strength runs out, and God's strength takes over. You may not see it yet, but He's been working behind the scenes in ways you can't imagine. God never wastes pain. Not one tear. Not one sleepless night. Not one unanswered question. Every trial you've walked through is shaping something eternal in you. It's building a faith that's deeper than emotion. It's growing roots that storms can't shake. It's refining your heart to reflect His glory. You may feel like nothing's changing, but what if something is? What if you're being stretched because He's preparing you to carry more? What if your delay isn't punishment, but protection? What if your weariness is the soil where strength is about to grow? So hold on, not because you feel strong, but because He is. The same God who brought you this far will not leave you here. Keep going, not because the path is easy, but because the one who walks with you is faithful. When you reach that point where you truly feel like you can't go on, stop. Not forever, not in defeat, just long enough to breathe, to pause the pressure, the racing thoughts, the fear of falling behind. Let yourself be still, not to collapse, but to reset in the presence of the one who never grows weary. Whisper His name, Jesus, even if that's all you can say, even if your voice is shaky, even if your heart feels numb. There is power in that name. Peace, refuge, strength. You don't have to have the right words. You don't have to fix yourself first. You don't have to pretend you're okay. Just come to Him, exactly as you are, and rest. Rest doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean your faith is broken. Sometimes, resting is the holiest thing you can do. It's an act of trust, a quiet declaration that says, God, I believe you're still holding me, even when I can't hold myself together. And in that stillness, He's working. Even when the silence feels endless, even when your heart feels heavy, He's mending what's torn. He's strengthening what's weak. He's preparing the next step, even when you can't see it yet. So if you can't go on today, don't force it. Pause, breathe, let His presence be enough, for now, and for whatever comes next. Your story isn't over. This chapter may feel dark. The page may be filled with questions, with pain, with silence. But this is not the end. God is still writing, and He never leaves a story unfinished. You are chosen, not by accident, not as a backup plan, but on purpose with love. You are loved, not for what you do, not for how strong you pretend to be, but simply because you are His. You are seen, even in the quiet corners of your struggle, even when no one else notices. He sees, He knows, He cares, and you are being carried by arms that never grow tired, by grace that never runs out, by a Savior who walks with you through every high and every low. Jesus doesn't give up on people, not on the hurting, not on the doubting, not on the tired, and He's not giving up on you. He's not waiting at the finish line. He's right beside you in the middle of it all. When you stumble, He holds you. When you fall, He lifts you. When you're too weak to walk, He carries you. This moment isn't your final word. There's still more ahead. More grace, more healing, more purpose. So take heart. Your story is still unfolding, and God is faithful to finish what He began in you. You didn't find this video by accident. You clicked for a reason, maybe not even fully knowing why. But deep down, something in your soul needed to hear this. Maybe this is your moment. Not the moment you give up, but the moment you finally let go. Not the end of your fight, but the beginning of surrender. Not to fear, not to defeat, but to Jesus. He's not asking you to fix everything. He's not expecting perfection. He's simply inviting you to bring it all to him. Your fear, your fatigue, your failure, every burden that's been breaking your back. He's ready to carry what you can't. Because he's not just your savior. He's your strength. He's the steady hand when yours is shaking. He's the quiet peace in the middle of chaos. He's the faithful one who never lets go. So breathe. Let this be the turning point. Not because your circumstances suddenly change, but because you chose to trust the one who never changes. Jesus is here, still loving you, still fighting for you, still walking with you. And from this moment forward, you don't have to carry it alone.